这是 Frankie， 也欢迎来台湾。那你以前也是运动员吗？
对，高中、大学我先解释一下我这个故事。我是美国人，我妈妈是台北人，出生长大在台北，然后我从小就开始来到台湾看我的家人，大部分2/3在亚洲长大的，所以我直到了高中我们才搬到美国去，我小学、中学一直在亚洲，我很幸运吧，我们在日本到我7岁的时候，然后就搬到上海去。
So do you prefer living in Asia or living in US?
You know, of course, you know, both places, you know, 有利有弊吧。
对 ，yes.
I think Asia will always have my heart. You know, Asia's where I grew up.
Yeah.
And honestly, the day that I got to America, I felt like, wow, you know, I'm not sure this will ever feel like where I belong in my home the most. You know, you start to meet people, and when you grow up in another culture and another environment, I was so lucky. You know, my international schools in Asia, in Japan, and in China. You have classmates from Europe, America, Africa, other parts of Asia, you know, and you learn naturally how to, you know, make friends and work together with people from a lot of different places. And of course that starts to, you know, make you who you are. So, you know, I think, you know, very early I realized that for me, the biggest thing that makes me who I am, what made Frank, is growing up in Asia and you know, being around people from all over the world. I really love doing that. And so, you know, cities like London, Singapore, New York in America, I would say has it. But just that environment where you're with people from everywhere, and, you know, different habits, different, you know, perspectives, different hobbies. It's the funnest environment for me, and it's where I feel very alive and very.
That's great. Yeah.
就很喜欢那些环境。
And you really like to make like people with different backgrounds,
Definitely.
different cultures.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, you know, when I got to the U.S. and I started to go to school and you know, study and try to make friends, it was really hard. For 6 months, I was super unhappy, because you know, in Shanghai, my whole life was there. All of my friends, you know, and I had started, you know, meeting the coaches and you know I knew the other players for the high school sports teams. And yeah, like you.
What sports do you play?
Like you asked me, I was a big athlete as I grew up, and the sports that I ended up playing the most were soccer and basketball.
Soccer and basketball.
And then in high school, I really started to focus on basketball in America.
How do you feel about like maybe Western's like sports systems compared to Eastern's? Do you see a lot of like potential in, because sports in Asia is quite popular as well. So how do you feel about the difference?
I mean, I think the for something like basketball, you know, from like the 90s and late 80s, you know, when someone like Michael Jordan was a world famous star.
Yeah.
He was already popular in China and you know Taiwan, Singapore, Japan, lots of Asia, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, basketball is a sport that is super well received in, you know, China and other countries where there's ethnically Chinese people like Taiwan, right? And so I've met great athletes in Asia. I grew up with great athletes in Asia. A lot of guys I know, definitely could have played, varsity sports in America or probably even college sports as well. Some of the best of the best. And some of them did, some people, being a fan of sports is universal. I went to a couple games in Xinbei, to see Lin书緯.
Oh, Lin书緯, yeah.
And because I met him, the same way that I met his brother, and so
wow.
I wanted to see them both play, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I've watched the P League games in Taiwan. I've seen plenty of sports in other parts of Asia.
Yeah.
And the arena, the game day experience as a fan, to watch the sport it's quite similar in both places, I think.
Oh, that's great. So have you practiced playing basketball with German before? Maybe in US?
But I haven't played basketball with him ever. I played with his little brother a couple times. But I've never played with Jeremy. It was our friends at church, the church I go to in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Some of those guys, they were the first friends I had in America. And through them I met more people, and they were just really really nice and open to someone who's new, to a country, and all three of them, all three of the brothers, they're really good at basketball. Mr. Lin's a pretty good player, and of course they learned it from somewhere, right?
So how do you feel about when you see like Jeremy Lin brothers they play in P League in Taiwan?
Oh, I mean, it was really great. I remember when I was in Shanghai. Jeremy was still at Harvard. 还没有进那个 NBA。还没有毕业的时候，还是有一点有名。因为是一个 Asian American， 打得很厉害。I've been lucky to see him, like we all have, go from being a Division I basketball player to the NBA, and to now recently getting here to Kaohsiung. So it's awesome to be able to see him here. In the country where
you
我们两个人的
grow up
我们的
together
血统就是在这里开始的，对吗？
对，
这个只是我第二次看到 Jeremy， 现场看他打篮球。NBA 我只有看到一个比赛，在加州，所以是 his career 很早的一部分，他很快就到另外一个队。
To
see 书緯 in 新北，国王，新北国王，he played great，下去到高雄一次看书豪的比赛，然后我特别要看那场比赛，因为是新北国王比对高雄
钢铁人对 this brothers they have like
这个兄弟的这个 versus我觉得很好玩。It was. I mean, that was the game when Jeremy had 50 points.
Oh, really? You saw that
triple double? Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's the highest score. Yes.
His best game in Taiwan.
Yeah. 50. Wow, you saw that?
I saw that game.
Wow.
I picked a good game to go watch. He had a 50-point triple double. I mean, those are crazy numbers.
Yeah.
I've never scored a triple double. I think the most points I've ever scored in high school it was like 20 points, you know, and that felt really hard, you know. 50 points, that's crazy. And you know, he did that in a league where there are guys from America, you know, guys who played in the NBA before.
Yeah.
And you know, he played amazing that night.
Yeah.